My head feels like a bobblehead right now. Like it feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds. My most favorite place, the GI office. We're not even supposed to be here.
But here we are.
I need another tube change. Because this one, the long dangler, sucks. Basically. And it's leaking out of both ports, and it smells like fish or rotten eggs or like saltine crackers. And we called the GI office for the GI office to call the radiology, which they did to schedule the tube change, but radiology won't schedule my tube change.
Because you're having too many.
First, they said that I had to see a physician within 30 days, which is their usual protocol. It can be any physician, providing you've seen one, had labs, yada yada.
Not even have labs, just an H&P.
Yeah. So that's how it's always been. And so then they tell the nurse that I haven't had that, but if they go look at the records, I had just seen the oncologist within the 30-day time period. So the nurse calls us back. We tell her we saw the oncologist, then she sends over that information to radiology the next day. And now all of a sudden the next excuse is that I have to see the GI doctor before they'll schedule my tube change. So here we are. Hopefully the GI will help get this situated. But it's not an exact emergency like last time because the balloon's not popped, but I can see the writing on the wall as you said.
Yep, and we're trying to wait.
And they're going to have to order the tube to begin with.
Are you going to be able to show her the mop? Where it...
Hopefully. The radiologist, when we put this long tube in because they didn't have the button, said that in 2 weeks when the Mickey came back in, that I could have it replaced. So I'm hoping this is just some kind of misunderstanding and that the GI doctor will get it sorted. I don't want the Mickey anymore because the Mickey balloon is like a circle and the AMT balloon is more, it's wider and apple shaped. Because of the position that my tube stoma is in, the balloons for the Mickey and this long tube that are exact circle, they hurt and the AMT doesn't. So I can see where the balloon is all wonky on this again, where it's humped out on one side, which has always been the case once I've had a tube for a few weeks. But with the AMT, it didn't cause any extra pain or leaking. But because of the balloon shape on these tubes, it does. So I don't want the Mickey. I want to try the AMT one more time to see if the balloon pops again within 5 weeks or if that was just a coinky dink. Silvino and I are out running errands while I'm waiting in the car. But earlier today we had a big, I wouldn't say big, but mast cell patient meetup at my place. It's not very often we get to do that because to get all of us well enough at the same time is practically impossible. But we did it. We were missing one, sadly, but I'd consider that an accomplishment that 3 of us were well enough to be there. The girl is originally from Florida, like me, but she was in town. Well, it's not in town. She was in Atlanta for an appointment, and because we were somewhat close, we decided to meet for the first time in person, so that was cool. There's just something special about meeting people that get it, you know?
This does all your picture taking emojis. No, sir. Every time she says no, so I'm going to say it again. Did you hear that accent, Cheyenne? Show her your accent.
No, start.
You should let him out more often. I love you, cat.
And I'm in the neck brace because I have a horrible, horrible migraine from my cervical cranial instability caused from my EDS. My head feels like a bobblehead right now. Like it feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds. But I get these migraines that start in the back of my skull and they creep up to the front of my head once they get bad. And putting on my neck brace helps at times decrease some of the pain, but once it gets past a certain point, there's just no going back, and it can take days to go away. But it was still nice to see everybody, so. And thankfully, my GI doctor was able to get everything situated with the IR, and I have my tube change on Thursday the 21st. Praise God.
We should have stocked up on cat litter.
Yeah, we were getting cat litter. That'll last a few weeks, so.
It'll last about a week. Then I'll have to drive way the heck out here to the boonies again.
Well, this isn't the boonies.
Well,
this is like the city.
We have to drive further than we normally do.
Yeah, the other Walmarts didn't have it. Aren't we interesting? Just saying, you're talking about cat litter.
I mean, your cat's like he's as bad as you, being Brown Pacific and all that.
He only likes one kind of cat litter.
Did you already explain to them about what happened this morning?
No, I'm not going to air our dirty laundry.
Oh,
There's some things when you're vlogging that you just don't say.
That's part of being a vlogger, though.
I know, but you've got to keep that privacy. I don't know.
I think this is the one.
I'm horrible at directions. A couple weeks ago, we were driving to find a field with some sunflowers in it.
I wonder if Grady's Outdoors is any good.
And no joke, like we left and I'm like, okay, I can get you there. And I couldn't get him there. And then we went a whole circle and then we went home and we still never found it.
Sometimes you just gotta get lost in there to know new ways.
And then so my mom took me out later to try to find this field with the sunflowers in it. And we found it, except there wasn't any sunflowers yet. We have to wait till like September.
There's that cookout your mom was talking about the other day. She didn't like it. It's just basically cheap, like, cookout food. Like cheap hot dogs, cheap hamburgers. Although they do, I do hear a lot of good things about their milkshakes. They supposedly have like really good milkshakes. I ain't never gonna try it. But that's just their word on the streets.
Bye.
That was your outro? What the heck was that, Shy? You gotta do something better than that. Just not opening it up and be like, bye.
Bye. My camera's about to die. It's like blinking at me, so bye. I am in the car yet again. I'm not going anywhere this time. My dad is working on a vehicle and it entailed spray painting a part. And somehow the spray paint got into the house even though he was doing it outside in our yard. And our entire house has the paint smell. So I am in the car, in the driveway, with the air on, waiting as my mom is trying to figure out how to air out the house. This is one of the complications of mast cell disease. You can't even be safe in your own house half the time. When the air conditioning is on, it brings stuff from outside in. For example, during the summertime, if the neighbor is mowing their grass or if we are mowing our own grass, we can't turn on our air conditioning because if we do, then the grass aroma will come into the house. The same goes for during the winter. In the wintertime when it's cold and people are running their fireplaces or having bonfires outside, if we turn on our heat while that is taking place, it brings the smoke inside our house. Houses are not airtight And so when the air conditioning is going through its cycle, it just circulates the air, and it can bring particles inside the house that you don't necessarily want. And thus, that is what happened today with the spray paint, because my mom and I were running errands. I was waiting in the car in the parking lot of the grocery store while she did some shopping, and as soon as I got home, I walked in. There was this strange smell inside, and my throat starts getting scratchy, and the cough sensation, which is a sign for me that I am having a reaction that is going to progress if I do not get out of that trigger area. It happens, such is life, but there's just complications like that that you don't necessarily expect. But, you know, all is well. I got out of there. I'm waiting in the car while my mom figures out how to air out the house. Hope everyone is having a uneventful weekend health-wise, and is feeling well and can enjoy the weekend, I guess. So, bye.